Lagos Television, and there's a strong link between this topic that we discussed earlier and what we are about to discuss now. Right now, we're focusing on women in politics, their challenges, and way out of these challenges. We all know the kind of politics that we play in Nigeria. Oftentimes, women are relegated and they are not allowed to actually exhibit their potential in terms of leadership. When you look at the Lagos State House of Assembly today, we only have 4 female members, and in the National Assembly, we have just 4 senators, and of course 17 members of House of Reps are female. And when it comes to voting and of course participation in politics, women are always out there in their numbers, supporting politicians to achieve their goals when it comes to political office. So we have 2 women who are into politics on the program today. Joining us via Zoom is Tari Taylor. Tari Taylor is a grassroots politician. It's a pleasure to have you this morning.
Good morning, Ajibala. Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you. And right here in the studio with me is Abiodun Islamia Adibawale. She's a women advocate and a politician as well. It's a pleasure to have you.
Good morning. It's good to be here.
Tari, let me start with you. When you look at the composition of the Nigerian politics today, would you say that it is fair for our women?
Well, that's a very relative question, depending on how you are looking at it. So you reviewed the numbers, right? The numbers are not very encouraging. 4 in the Lagos State House of Assembly, 4 women in the Senate, and then 17 women in the House of Reps. That doesn't even scratch the surface, even when we are thinking about the 35%, that has been recommended for women's occupation in these houses. But I do think it's a work in progress. I don't think it's something that is going to happen overnight. And I think it's something that we have to be very intentional about, both as women and both from the political parties, because number one, if women don't put themselves forward, then how can you take those seats? And number 2, if the political parties don't rally together to put women forward, then it's just not going to happen. So it's one thing to want more women representation, especially in the legislature or in the executive. But it's another thing to actively work towards getting them there. And one thing, and I would speak from my experience, I don't believe that there are any specific obstacles or barricades or barriers to stop women. I do think that if women step out, if they are determined, if they communicate the value that they have to offer, I believe that the doors will open. That's my thoughts on that.
Okay, but we have seen different kind of women excelling in their chosen profession. And is it that it's a different ball game when it comes to politics?
Well, thank you. I would start by stating that politics is not just a game of numbers. It is part of our society. It reflects the state at which our society is. So having said that, like the question you asked, that women, yes, it is true that we see women doing well in other aspects, in other sectors of the society. So why politics? The response I have for that is, one thing, just like the first speaker said, it is one thing to believe in ourselves as women. It is another thing to get the necessary supports that is required for us to push forward. There are several challenges that we encounter as women active in politics. And the first thing I would like to state is the cultural and societal norm. It is quite unfortunate that even in our society today, some women, their role is just to take care of the home. We should have gone past through that stage. And it is still believed that politics is a man's world, just like every other sector of the society.
Is it a man's world or a woman's world?
It is a man's world, because there are several challenges that we face as women that the men don't. I've just mentioned one. There's the issue of the political structure too. Most political parties are being dominated by men. And not until deliberate efforts are being put in place to ensure that women, the inclusion of women is being worked on. It is our right. It is not something we need to request for. It is meant to be our right. So not until we are given that right. Okay, I'll take a very good example. Recently, we've had parties like APC giving women free forms, free nomination. That's just a step forward. There are still several things that can be done within the party structure. So yes, we want to be heard. We want to amplify our voices. We want to be part of the political activities. We want to be involved. But there are still certain challenges that we need to work upon.
Okay. All right, Tari, Abiodun here is some vital point talking about the cultural impediments and, of course, the structure of our political parties in the country. I doubt if there's any major political party in the country as we speak today that is headed by a female. I doubt if there's any, except if I'm wrong. And she raised another issue of support, getting enough support for women to achieve their political aspirations. Where are we lagging in this aspect, and what are the things that should be done to put things in right perspective?
Okay, all right, thank you. So the thing is, when we say there are no women that are at the helm of political parties in Nigeria, now the immediate question that comes to my mind is how many women have vied to occupy those positions? Have they tried? Have they stepped forward confidently to say, you know what, I can do this? Have they rallied the support together? Power is not served a la carte. No one is going to give it to you. Even though you think it's your right, no one is going to serve it to you on a golden platter. You have to step forward. You have to prove your worth. You have to rally people to support you, and you have to do what it takes to get the positions that you think that you're qualified for. So it's, I think that sometimes maybe as women we should move a bit away from having a sense of entitlement, because no one is going to give you anything just because you are a woman. It is even quite I believe maybe but for the sake of affirmative action that people are saying, oh, okay, 35%, people should occupy, women should occupy in the legislative houses and all of that. But even then, there are men who also have the ambition. And at the end of the day, are we going to tell the public that just because somebody is a woman, you should vote for her, whether or not she's qualified for a role? So if you are a competent woman, that believes that you have the capacity and you are being very deliberate to rally up the support, you see, you have to prove your worth. No one is going to give you anything just because you are a woman. That's what I feel about that. But then again, I believe that from the system, from the political structures, there has to be an openness. Yes, I agree that there may have to be a mindset shift to stop seeing women, just as, in the traditional ways that we have chosen to see them, and then just open our minds to accommodate the fact that women can actually lead in these very volatile environments. And one of the only ways that is going to happen is when we see...
Tari, so you agree that the environment, you agree that the political environment is volatile?
Oh, definitely. Absolutely. It's not an easy terrain for anybody, men or women. You see what I mean? So it's not just as if, it's set up to not favor women. It's set up to not favor anybody. Everybody has their ambition, and people are ready to do whatever it takes to get there. So they're not just going to casually step aside for you because you are a woman. No, you're going to have to prove yourself. You're going to have to, earn your way to the positions that you want to occupy. So yes, it's in our favor as women that many people are now having the conversation that, women should be given more of these chances. But at the same time, we are going to have to earn it. We are going to have to work twice as hard, to ensure that we get those positions. So what I would say that is a collective responsibility is that mindset shift. And, it would be nice to see a lot more women, because there's something called modeling. There's something called representation. When you see somebody doing something that looks like you, that has your gender, then it makes you believe that, I believe I can do that. So when we see more women push forward, vie for these roles, for example, For a very short time, Honorable Mojisola Meranda was Speaker of the Lagos State House of Assembly. It might have inspired a lot of women to say, oh my goodness, I could be that. I could do that, just because they have seen it being modeled. So that's also very important.
Okay, Tari just cited the example of Honorable Mojisola Meranda now, and that, of course, will take me to what is trending in the country, the Senate to be precise. The altercation that happened the other day on the floor of the Red Chamber of the National Assembly, Senator Natasha. What's your own perspective about this whole issue? And Tari equally said that more women should start coming out, that power is not going to be served a la carte.
All right, thank you. Before going to Senator Natasha's issue, I'll beg to say that we have competent women
No doubt
in
about
every
that.
sector of the society, politics inclusive. And they have been coming forward. When it's time for election and you look at the ballot papers, we have thousands of women. But the big question is, how much support have they been given?
By who?
There has been by the society.
What about the women themselves? Are women supporting women?
Unfortunately, no. Though the narrative is beginning to change, but unfortunately, no. Women don't support ourselves. Just like I was telling someone the other day, when the person said she believes that financial barriers are quite, common among the women. It's a very big challenge. As much as I would like to agree with that, unfortunately for us, it is these same women. When it's time for election, we come out in our numbers. And we have it. But unfortunately, it is these same women that will receive monies from the male counterparts to oppose their fellow women. So why is it...
Is that a personal experience?
It's a personal experience. It's something I've experienced. I contested during the last election, and I have some experiences. And yes, I had women supporting me, but you still have some women that believes that the male can do it better, unfortunately. So we have women coming forward. How much have they been? Then the media is not helping us too. It is one thing to come out boldly to say you want to do this. The media pays more focus. They pay more attention on the personalities, the private lives of these women when they come out. They tend to pay more attention to their appearances, their marital status, the controversies surrounding their personal lives, instead of the main
values
thing
they are bringing on board.
the values, their policies, and what they have to offer.
Maybe some media, let's not generalize.
Well,
Maybe
some media. So that was why I said at the beginning that it is time for us as women. The social media is a very good avenue for us to begin to amplify our voices, to be heard positively.
Okay.
So then, coming to Senator Natasha Akpoti's case, I wouldn't like to say much about it. And the reason is that both parties would definitely have something to say. As much as I agree that sexual harassment is one of the challenges that females generally face, irrespective of the sectors they have found themselves. So I don't want to limit it to politics alone.
Okay.
It's a general thing.
Okay.
Then I would like to say that I believe that, one, her taking it beyond Nigeria is not something I'm comfortable about.
All right.
I believe it's something that can be sorted out locally. The question is, how well has she, made use of the legal system we have in Nigeria to seek justice
before taking it global?
Before taking it beyond Nigeria.
Okay, let's leave it at that.
Secondly, with respect to Senator Natasha's case, I believe that if she has substantial evidences to buttress her case, then she should bring it on. And we all will be here to give her the necessary support. That's my take on it.
Okay, I love your take on that. And it appears, okay, Tari is back. Tari, we have identified so many factors hindering women from playing their role in politics. But now, as we approach 2027 elections, what are the things that women should begin to do to get their rightful positions when it comes to politics in 2027?
All right, thank you for that. So, I mean, number one, we have to be strategic, right? We have to be strategic. We have to understand the terrain that we are called to. Just like in anything, if you want to be a successful investment banker, you're going to have to study the terrain and understand the opportunities that are there, then know how you're going to plug yourself in. It's the same thing in politics. Understand the terrain, know what is attainable for you, right? If the House and Assembly is where you want to go, in fact, even if it's the local government elections and you want to be, the very first time I vied for any office, I ran for the councillorship position in my ward in Lekki Ikate. That was my very first, foray into politics. And after that, I went for the state assembly, and then eventually I was I became the SSA to the governor of Lagos on environment, and then now I'm operating at the federal level. So you see, it's been a steady progression. But you see, sometimes you just take one step and the doors will open, opportunities will come, but you have to be strategic in understanding what your skill set is. You have to understand the value that you can create, and you have to just, understand how it works. Know the right people to align yourself with, and then, trust the system and, I guess project yourself in the right way to get what you want. So like I said, so number one, be strategic. Number two, work hard. Nothing is going to be given to you. You have to work, you have to do the work. Politics is tough, it's difficult, especially during election periods when you're campaigning. It is difficult. Sleepless nights, you feel so drained, but you have to give it that work, because the people that are your opponents are working almost twice as hard. So you have to do the work. Don't expect that it's going to be done for you. And then number three, what I would say also is, look after yourself, be confident. Be confident is very important, because if you don't believe in yourself, you cannot ask people to believe in you. You're asking people to trust you with their sovereignty. You're asking people to entrust their well-being in you. You're asking communities to trust you. So you're going to have to believe in yourself. You're going to have to look after yourself, your mental health, your physical health. You have to learn. You have to read a lot to expand your knowledge base, so that you're not limited in any way. That way, you'll be able to put yourself before people, and when they hear you speak, when you present yourself, they can trust you to lead them. They can trust you to take them to where they want to go to, and have a strong vision. I think that's very important. To come out to run for office is not just to say, hey, look at me, vote for me. No, you have to communicate a vision. You have to be able to tell people, I'm going to take you somewhere that you have not been before, and this is how I'm going to do it. So when you communicate that value, people will then trust you. They will look at you and say, can this person deliver on what they're promising? And then if they believe that you can, then they will support you, and you will eventually be able to be successful in what you are doing. So those are the four things that come to mind right now in terms of 2027 for women who are looking to put themselves forward. And I would encourage them. It's a very interesting thing. No matter what, win or lose, I have no regrets. You see, I think that some of the best decisions I've taken in my life were those decisions to step out and say, you know what, vote for me, I can do the job.
Okay, I think we should let Tari go. Tari Taylor, grassroots politician. She's been speaking on women in politics, challenges and way out. We thank you very much for your time this morning.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, Abiodun, just before we go on the program, Tari just mentioned something now about 2027. I know money is a factor when it comes to politics in Nigeria. As we approach 2027 now, what are those strategic steps that you are taking to address those mistakes that you made in 2023?
Well, thank you for the question. One of the things I have been doing, which I feel every other female should do, is working on ourselves, believing more in yourself and projecting yourself to your immediate environment as well as the extended ones. The way you project yourself goes a long way in the way you are being perceived. So I'm working on my image, trying to work more on projecting myself. Then mentorship. It is very important for us to subject ourselves and submit ourselves to mentorship. Every field in life requires mentoring. So politics is not different. One thing I have to say to the senior female colleagues in politics, I'm seizing this opportunity to appeal to them to ensure that they have female politicians, aspiring politicians, upcoming politicians, or interested female politicians that they can mentor. I believe with good mentoring, we won't be making the same mistakes that those before us have made, and those coming after us would also, be prevented from making such mistakes too. That is true. Then, thirdly, like I said earlier, it's time for us to begin to amplify our voices. And not just amplifying our voices, speaking in one voice as women. It is one thing for a woman to come out and say, I can do this. It is another thing for her to get the support of the females around her. We all need encouragement at some point in our lives. Even sometimes, I want to give an example. During my election, during my campaign then, I got to certain, points that turning back was becoming an option. But I told myself, no. I have come this far, and saying no, reversing that decision, wouldn't be an option. This was actually possible because I had a very good support system around me.
Okay.
It wouldn't have been that easy. So then, financial-wise, finance has also been a very big, challenge when it comes to politics. I believe that a very good example is Kenya. We have what is known as the Women Enterprise Fund, which is set aside
for women.
For women. And it has really gone, so far in encouraging more women that would have felt that finance was a barrier to come out and be part of the political system.
Okay, we thank you very much. Abiodun Islamiyah Adebowale, women advocate and politician, and earlier we had Terry Taylor, grassroots politician, and the two of them have shared their perspectives on women in politics, their challenges, and the way out. And then we hope that things will get better as we approach the 2027 general elections in the country. Once again, we thank you for your time.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, we'll go on a short break. When we come back, Adebimpe and Joy will be taking you through their conversation on the program today. Stay with us.